Hello, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome to week 2 of the OPL Day 2. My name is Jack, and I'm joined by Timmy for our first game of the day. It's the big one, the heavyweight clash of this split. It's Direwolves versus Pandamonium. I'm Jack. How are you doing, Timmy?
Yeah, I'm doing pretty alright. It's going to be interesting to see last year's big number 2 teams going head to head together at the regional finals. Got to see them matched up once again this year. Got to see how they go ahead. Take a quick look at the team overview of Dials, which you see their lineup. Not a whole lot has really changed in their lineup. We do see Max and then only good as solo coming in as the new roster, and they've been performing fairly decently so far.
Yeah, and it's really been up to Richard Castle to try and put this team together and try and make this a cohesive unit. They did have a few connection issues in their first week matchup against Sin Gaming, which was what made them in this unfortunate position of being fourth in the standings currently. They did manage to pick up a game last week, which could prove vital going into the final weeks. It'll be very interesting to see if they can bounce back from that disappointment last week against the top team out there, Team Pandamonium. Why don't we have a quick look at them coming up on your screen just now. See, it's pretty much the same lineup as you saw last year, although we do have a new player, Swayer, coming in at the support role.
Yeah, Swear replacing Biggie, who's gone over to the coach of Direwolves. So it'll be interesting to see if he leaks any kind of secret information about Pandemonium, just try and get the little bit of edge on top of them.
It'll be interesting to see if any of that information, if he does decide to spell any, is still relevant. Team Pandemonium, obviously bringing in that new support, would have to adapt their game style. And with that new play style, with that new aggression or defensive play coming out, Big E's information may no longer be valid. Who knows?
You know, I don't believe the meta has really shifted all that greatly. It's mostly player development and player skill. One thing that is noteworthy, though, is that Oceanic meta usually see people very defensive in their formations when you're, circling around each other near the Gold Fury and Fire Giant. And we've seen a lot of success from the Castle Sobek play, where you can just charge and break those lines. And it does cause a lot of havoc, so we might see him playing some of that, or another aggressive Guardian likewise.
And I'm interested to see exactly how Max and Only Gonna Solo is going to start melding with the Direwolves roster, Richard Castle, Yada, and Kiki Omio. Only Gonna Solo is obviously going to be playing in that solo role. May look to be picking up some warriors, get himself just comfortable in the role. Could be getting that Sobek as well later on, if he really feels like he needs that very safe, just... As we do have the picks and bans coming up on screen, coming up just now. Game 1. There we go, straight in. Direwolves, you're going to be your Order side. Team Pandemonium are going to be your Chaos side for this game. First ban coming through, it's going to be a Kepri.
Kepri very strong. We're not going to see him all that much. He's mainly just going to be banned out. Revive is just far too strong. Thor game banned out as well. Very strong jungler. A lot of initiation and early game pressure. And allows you to have a bit more of a CC heavy lineup towards the late game.
And this Odin ban that's come through as well from Direwolves, it's certainly become a lot more prevalent in recent weeks as a lot of teams start to pick up and start to realize the value of that 60-second cooldown on his ultimate.
Yes, and the other strong warrior that we've been seeing is the Guan Yu. He won't be banned out right now. It will be Barkus. That's a shot fired at Richard Castle. They don't want that Barkus being very aggressive against them. But like I was saying, Guan Yu, very strong this meta so far, building with full cooldown. He pretty much has constant healing. Athena is going to be your first pick.
Yeah, Athena was left up on the table. With Kepri being banned away, it was the obvious choice as the top support out there. Very good just to get that solid support presence in there. Could also put Athena into the jungle if they feel like they need that flex pick potential coming up from Direwolves. Option back over to Team Pandemonium. They're going to lock in straight away their duo lane of Chiron and Sobek. Well, the Sobek could be a flex pick.
The Sobek definitely could. A solo back is pretty strong at the moment with the amount of healing that is available in the solo lane. Guan Yu's still available. And I think they just took that away from Direwolves because, like you said, Athena could have been a flex pick. They could have just headed in the pocket for the jungle, and if they ended up getting Sobek, they take Sobek. But you are going to see a Soul and a Hunbats game picked up for Direwolves.
I really do like Hunbats. The amount of team fight presence he can come out of the jungle role is truly devastating. And ooh, the Awheelix going to be picked up for Team Pandemonium. Knockup's already on the Sobek, and I expect them to draft even more going into the second picking phase. But first, we've got to have a couple of bans, and there you go. You talked about it before. The Guan Yu, take it off the table.
Guan Yu. Sobek does counter Guan Yu a little bit in the lane, can pluck him out of the Tallow Assault and also reduce the healing, but better to just not deal with him full stop. And a get ban getting picked up for Direwolves. Not too sure about that. They may be smelling the solo back.
Yeah, you just want to try and force that Sobek to maybe come into the support role if possible and get a weaker solo laner out there.
Yeah.
If you really can, and get a better matchup for your solo laner. Medusa going to be banned away. Strange to see that ban coming out, especially paired with a Sobek and an Awelix. And the Agni ban coming out too. They may be thinking that the Soul is into the mid lane rather than the Hunter role with that Medusa ban.
Yeah, Soul's been doing a lot better in the mid lane. Speaking of which, they have banned out an Agni, who can deal with Soul fairly reasonably, can dash away from the Supernova, get that out of the way, but Giannis going to be picked up. Very top tier mid lane at the moment.
Now, one important thing to notice is that his portal does count Vanish and not.
Seem to be having a little bit of issue. Seem to have a little bit of issues with Alpha Jackal. He was going to say that the portal does count as a banish, not a knock-up. So the Gravity Surge from Wilsh is not going to be able to synergize with that. Direwolves picking up their last two picks. Going to be the Tyr and Apollo. That's going to be a lot of split push potential from the Apollo. And Tyr, not too sure how he's going to fare up with the Sobek, but Sylvanas getting picked up as the support. We haven't seen him all that much, but with a Sobek in the front lines, you can really have Sylvanas in the back, just constantly healing up everyone.
And it would be a very good siege potential coming out from Team Pandamonium. If they can get that lead early on, expect them to be high pressure into the enemy jungler, really look to shut down this Humbats, make sure he can't get those big Finna Weevils and turn the fight around for his team. Expect a lot of Gold Fury heavy presence going out in the early game from Team Pandamonium. They don't really have the greatest of secure, no big burst ultimate with the Isis, as we do get into the game. Ladies and gentlemen, it is Direwolves versus Team Pandamonium. Representing Direwolves, only good at solo, playing that tier in the solo lane. Maxon, gonna be playing the Humbats in the jungle. Kikyo Me in the mid lane with that Soul, and Latle's Richard Castle and Yada in the dual lane with Athena and Apollo.
And on the right side of your spectator eye, top side of the mini-map, we've got Team Pandemonium. It's going to be Sporks in the solo lane as Sobek. It'll be Ro running around the jungle with Suku as the Willish. Ochita is going to be the god of portals, Giannis in the mid lane. And your dual lane will be comprised of Swaya and Subfloor, that's Sylvanas and Chiron.
I do like what Ro is doing right now in that jungle role. He's gone out with just his Bomber's Mask and a couple of wards and has placed him down as quickly as possible, making sure he gets vision of the enemy team to see if they're trying an invade or if they're trying to go for those mid-harpies early, meaning that they don't waste rotations. And over on the left-hand side, you can see Sylvanas has also put down a ward just behind the Gold Fury pit to make sure that there's no invade potential coming out from Direwolves.
I think they may be looking for an early rotation coming out of Maxon there. Very aggressive jungler playstyle, and with the wards that you mentioned on the right-hand side, I think they're just looking really to see whether or not they're going for those mid-camps, so Ro doesn't waste time, he can just go straight for them.
So what do you think of Only Good at Solo's decision not to have gone into a Relic at the very start of the game?
That, for a solo laner, that's perfectly reasonable. You sit in lane for a little bit until you actually need to back, and at that point you can make a decision, do I need, a Weakening Curse or a Sprint or anything else? If not, if you need the teleport, you just grab it. No harm, no foul. You're not really going to use it in the lane early on.
So both of the mid-harpies are going to be left up and available to the teams as they clear the back harpies and the blue buff, as well as the red buff on either side. Although you can see Direwolves have cleared the back harpies as well, giving them just a bit of extra experience in the lanes.
Yeah, Direwolves get into lane a lot quicker than Pandemonium. You can see Sporks is rotating over towards his lane fairly late, so Maxon and Kiki could have probably gone for those mid camps, but a little bit safer option, not knowing that they had that ward there.
So Team Pandemonium, given that they didn't clear the back harpies on the left-hand side, meant that their dual lane got to lane very early and allowed them to get the push. But I do notice something very different coming up from Subfloor with his build. He's gone into the Thousandfold Blade, which goes into the Heartseeker, could go into the Stone-Cutting Sword, or the newly buffed
Masamune.
Masamune, that's the one. No one's ever bought it
Yeah.
before. I can't remember the name of it.
No, I would say it's Massive Moon, most definitely. Did get a plus 20 power buff to it, and it also allows you to deal extra damage based on how much more health your opponent has. So he's looking to take down Richard Castle, and he's looking to try and do some damage onto Only Good Solo later on during the game.
And also to note that Death's Toll does give you 90 extra health, so it will have a bit of use against Yada as well, as Richard Castle's going to get pulled in by Swire. Going to have to dash away, but still going to be held down by a masterful shot. Bit of poke coming out there from Subfloor and Swire. Team Pandamonium would definitely have the pressure on this left-hand side.
Yeah, that pressure is definitely going to be very strong. Sylvanas is very hard to lane against, a lot of healing, so your poke is redundant, and the AoE auto attacks that he has just allows you to clear very strongly. But if Richard Castle tries to dash through the mid lane to clear it, he can just easily be pulled and just caught way out of position.
Those Soul and Hombat staring down the combination of Yanis and Wheelix in the mid lane. They've got backups to go get after they clear up this wave, and they're going to go ahead and go for that left ones. Meaning they have an option to rotate over to the dual lane if they need to.
Yes, now we see that Pandamonium have already cleared out that back copies. They were late at the very beginning, but now they've caught up a little bit. Gonna be able to get the lane aggression here. They may be looking on towards Kiki or Mayo.
So Ro hitting level 5 has access to that Gravity Surge ultimate, can pull people basically to their doom. Also gives Willix a bit of a power bonus when activated. So we'll make sure that there's a lot of damage and a lot of kill potential if he manages to pull off the combo.
Cheetah's gonna be wanting to try and put a lot of pressure onto Maxon in the lane, because if he can force the jump, it'll be a great window for Ro to pull him out of the air, and that will definitely be a first blood.
Well, surely they should be trying to look at getting this power potion of Kiki Omio on this Soul, really put up the pressure and make it very uncomfortable for this mid laner.
Yeah, if he managed to knock out that purple pod onto Kiki Omio, that means his build is going to be very much delayed. He's not going to have that power early on, and he's not going to be able to clear very well. He's going to end up snowballing, but the Disapparate just makes it very hard to really just catch him.
You see, Ro, he's quite low on mana right now. He's just clearing out this red buff with Ochitas that has gone on the respawn. Still no kills going down. Direwolves versus Team Pandemonium. Direwolves taking a slight gold lead, despite the fact they've done have pressure on the left-hand side. I believe that's really coming out from that solo lane, as Tia really does have better wave play than this Sobek.
Yeah, he definitely does. Sobek takes a little while to get online to the point where he can start to full clear the wave. But looks like Only Good Solo and Maxon are going to be trying to steal away this blue buff, trying to really cripple the Sobek.
Yeah, Sobek, he's very mana intensive, even after some of the buffs he received about 6 months ago when he reduced the mana cost on his main abilities. Does also get mana regen from his lurking in the waters, but you still just want that blue buff for that 10% cooldown, really allows you to put the pressure on the enemy solo laner.
Now we see a lot of gripping up coming from the mid lane. We're going to see a little bit of contention on these left-hand mid camps. This could be the spot of aggression. Rich Castle jumping in.
And there we go, Richard Castle going to get knocked up, going to hit by that gravity surge. Maxon looking for the Fino, able to try and separate the team. Richard Castle in a lot of trouble. Rose going to actually pick up first blood to Richard Castle and get out through that through space in time from Machita. Beautiful play there from Team Pandemonium, getting the first blood of the game. That's
going to be very important, although it's not economically, it's not going to be all that great, because Richard Castle, if he is really desperate to get that farm, he can just ult back in, get the farm early on. No huge need for Defender of Olympus this early on for a big team fight.
And it's going to be, what you say, it's going to fall a bit further behind right now onto Swire, given that Swire's got those Traveler shoes online, whilst Richard Castle going into the cooldown boots shoes of focus. You know that every so often, Swire's going to get an extra boost in 30 gold, meaning that gold difference is going to get higher and higher as the game goes on.
Yeah, every time he strikes a enemy god, he has to make sure he hits different enemy gods every 90 seconds is the window. See a lot of ward coverage coming from Pandemonium, though. You can see the ward is just all over this left-hand side. Very aggressively placed.
So what do you think of the fact that Sylvanas has gone into this very early aggressive blink rather than a more traditional shell or weakening curse?
Well, the Wisp already just gives protections. He's got it at level 3 at the moment, so if you're being healed by it, you have innate 15 protections, and that goes up quite high. The blink just allows him to make up for his lack of mobility, just blink in, get those large wraths of terrors, and that could end up swaying towards a Go Fury.
See right now, Sware and Ro, they're looking for a gank onto Yada, who's having to dash it away. The blink, and after the terror is going to be immune by those beats. Defender of Olympus comes out as well. Good jukes there from Yada, means he's going to avoid a lot of the poke. Space of time also came out from Yada, so he's going to get dove in the mid lane underneath his tail by Maxon. No Fear No Evil coming out just yet.
The thing that I noticed is that Yada, he used the purification, but he was already outside of the radius of Wrath Tower. Slayer undershot it just a little bit, so a little bit of an even trade, but no damage coming out either.
Oh, Subfloor does have his Masamune on a line. The 10% movement speed given to him, but it's still going to be slower than Yado, who's got 80% movement speed. A little bit of an invade coming out here from Ro. Swear not finding that nature's ground, but up in the knock-up. There goes the gravity surge onto Richard Castle. Kikiyomiya using his ultimate there to try and just create some distance to help save the life of his supports, and is going to do just that.
Yeah, at the moment though, Direwolves are in a pretty good spot. They've got 3 ultimates, whereas Pandamonium only has the 1 from Subfloor. So if something were to happen right now, although I'm looking at Kikiyomiya and Ro from over the wall, he was trying to look for something, but he's going to go back towards that blue buff.
Well, with the fact that his blink is down and his ultimate was also down, it would have had to been a cheeky pluck through the wall into that mid-harpies. And looks like there's going to be a contest going down right now for these right-hand side ones. It's going to go straight to Team Pandamonium. Richard Castle not going to get there in time. Maxon still has his Fear No Evil, so look for Direwolves to engage very soon.
Yeah, both teams are very tiptoey around each other at the moment. They're trying to look for the most opportunist points of aggression. Just trying to get these mid-harpies 1-for-1 against each other.
So Yado right now just clearing up his balls on the left-hand side. Those balls are really pivotal if you want to try and maximize your farm. And having good ball control, as well as control of your enemy's balls, can really start to cripple the gold farm of your opponents.
Speaking of which, Maxon trying to looking for a little bit of a steal, but there are 4 members of Pandemonium over there. He decides not to go in. Very wise of him. But Ro, he's trying to sniff him out.
You can see, oh, Maxon is still over here waiting for a gank opportunity. Going to look to try and maybe go on to Sylvanas. But as the Gold Fury is going to be aggressed on here, but Richard Castle taking so much damage from Ro.
Ooh, the 3 space in time. 3 space in time, a little bit off the mark, just a little bit to the side, not managing to find Richard Castle. If he hit that, that would have been a dead Athena.
Yeah, but it's just a little if right now. On the right-hand side, only good at Solo and Spox. They're going to face each other again. It's just becoming to a slap fight now, as both of them have some form of defense online. There's no no-kill potential coming out here.
No, but the farm potential is in favor of only good solo, because normally with the Sobek, you want to try and make them deal damage to you so the minions focus onto your opponent, then you pluck them into the backline of it, but Tyr just fearlesses through the minions, has no problem just clearing them out instantly at this point, so he's kind of a bully at the moment, 1 level above.
Meanwhile, in the mid lane, Richard Castle going to find the taunt on his way. He's going to get Fear No Evil out of the tower. Now at the tower, trying to save his life, but Kikiyomiya fights it with a basic attack. That's a 1 kill going the way of Direwolves to help tie up the kills.
Yeah, very important there. Both supports have now fallen at least once. We can see they're both looking for that Heart of the Urchin. It's a fairly expensive item to go for. Also takes a while to stack up, so the more that they end up dying, the longer it's going to take to get that.
Yeah, well, once you have that item online and once you have that item stacked up, it's very cost efficient for the amount of health and protections that it gives you.
Yeah, once you get it and stacked up, it is the best defense item you can get in the entire game. The trouble is that it takes so long to get, especially as a first defensive item.
And maybe that's why Swayers decided to go into these travel issues to help offset the cost of this item.
Yeah, also allowing him to run around a little bit faster with the passive of it, giving him an additional 14% movement speed. You can just run around, get a little bit more farm, but you can't really out-farm an Athena who uses the Defender of Olympus when needed.
So right now, Subfloor is a very, very fast horse, sitting on 481 movement speed, thanks to that Musamune and Boots combination. Maxon and Richard Castle in the jungle looking aggressively, just going to ward up at the top side of the goal frame and make sure that there's no cheeky attempt coming out from the dial, coming out from Team Pandemonium.
Yeah, no whole lot going at the moment, but we see only goes solo coming in from the side there. He is going to get rooted out with a Sobek on his tail. Goes ahead and disengages. Not going to see anything coming out of that, though he may be looking for a blue buff here.
I don't know if he can be able to find this in time as Spox, or they've already managed to drop it. Meanwhile, in the middle, Richard Castle and Maxon look to be setting up for an ambush on these left-hand side Harpies, but not falling for the bait are Swire and Oshito as they go into left-hand side jungle looking for that red buff.
Yeah, Swire tried to go for a swipe with the Nature's Grasp. He is going to be able to hit him a nice kill if he does manage to hit one of those. Just pull them underneath the tower, so... Team Pandemonium, in the mid lane though, Blink, Wrath Terror into a Gravity Surge. Maxon is done and done.
Just a very textbook kill there coming out from Team Pandamonium, and they're not going to take any losses for it. There's no reaction coming out there from Kikiyomiya and Richard Castle, just not enough burst, especially with Kikiyomiya being out of mana.
Granted, they got the kill, and now they're about 600 gold ahead. That was a fairly costly kill. They expended 2 ultimates out, to get that, and then didn't get anything in return. Although they are going to be looking for this blue buff here, it is going to fall to the way of Team Pandemonium.
Oh, well, Rose sitting on about half health. If only Golden Solo could find that fearless combination, would have been able to find a kill there. The ultimate defender of Olympus has come down, but to no avail. And Pandemonium, they just get out for free after taking that blue buff.
Yeah, now that's what you do. You get the kill, now they've gotten something out of it. Now it can be quiet, and it's worth it.
So this Doom Orb coming out from Yan is giving him a lot of power, especially on 32-4 stacks. I'm sorry, as it just popped up to now. Do you think he's just going to keep this item constantly, or do you think he'll sell it later on in the game?
No, I'm seeing him keeping it constantly. Giannis with the Doom Orb is very safe because you have so many opportunities to just get out of a bad situation. It's pretty much a no-brainer. And if he does end up getting targeted by Maxim quite a bit, he could eventually just sell it, maybe get Chronos Pendant or Book of Thoth if he wants another stacking item. Although selling it for another stacking item would be a little bit of a bad decision later on in the game.
Well, this is a very interesting decision from Ro. He's decided to go into the Tier 2 Heavy Mace, which could build into that Jotun Strath, giving him 20% CDL, but instead elect to finish up a full Winged Blade before even going back to that item. Very odd decision.
I think he realized the need for the Wind Blade because you got the slows from Athena, from Sol, as well as Tyr from his ultimate. You just need to be able to move around, and with Suku, that movement speed is even more amplified, so it does allow him to get around and farm a bit more.
That's why I'm just going to miss a Nature's Grasp in the mid lane, as Maxon and Richard Castle move straight in there to clear out the wave. Right side mid harpies are about to spawn, and only Golden Solo recognizes this on the rotation. Gonna find himself in the Willix in the jungle. The taunt from Richard Castle is going to be off the mark, with a leap from Ro being just too good.
Yeah, Direwolf's a little bit getting hit by both sides. Defender of Olympus coming out. Double man, Wrath of Terror into a Gravity Surge. Fear no evil, up down by Maxim.
There we go. Sporks finds a 3-man lurking in the water. It's only going to solo very glow. He's actually critical. He's dead from a cheetah with that unstable vortex. Down comes the Soul Ultimate. It's not going to be finding too much damage. Sunflower picks up Max and actually picks up Kikiyomiya for a double kill. And now Yadi's in a world of hurt right now, separated by 5 members of Team Pandemonium. They're going to look to pick up this ADC for absolutely free. The triple kill for Subfloor. Richard Castle is one lonely Athena and cannot defend this potential Gold Fury.
They could definitely just go straight for the Gold Fury. They want to go for the safe option of the mid lane tower first off. A 4-for-0 trade in favor of Team Pandemonium. That is going to put the graphs way in their favor. 3,500 XP, as well as almost 3,500 gold. And now they're just going straight for the tier 2 tower. They're not fooling around.
Well, Richard Castle doesn't have a line to defend this, and with the respawn timers only just coming back up for Direwolf's rest of the squad, there's going to be a free tier 2, and that's 2,000 gold added to the coffers for Team Pandemonium.
At the moment, Gold Fury would not be worth as much as a tier 2 tower, so that is the best option in terms of gold. And also puts Kikiyomiya in a really bad spot, just having to try and farm without any towers whatsoever. He's going to be very exposed for Rogue to pick off.
Gonna have to be making good use of jungle rotations, is that Soul these days. Making sure that the jungle is warded to make sure that she is absolutely safe. Gonna have to follow the support and the jungle to help her out in that regards. But it's Giannis, he's sitting pretty right now, Cheetah. 104, has 50 stacks on his Doom Orb, has a lot of power behind his swings, and is going to start absolutely destroying people. There's unstable vortex. Bill on the left-hand side, Finnerweevil comes out onto Subfloor. He's going to dash away with his beats being used.
Yeah, through space and time, also getting shot out. Not going to do all that much. It is going to hit Maxon in the side of the head, do a fair chunk of his health, but nothing really much of it. He's going to go ahead, go back, and just heal that back up.
Well, it's just that fear factor of seeing a through space and time come out into your lane. You think, oh, are people going to rotate?
Us.
Yeah, they know what's going on. Only got it solo, looking for an invade onto Sporks. I think he actually did manage to pick it up. Sporks currently does have a blue buff over the solo lane opponent of Tyr.
Yes, both these members in the solo lane, they're kind of in a stalemate against each other, but that is usually the solo lane in a nutshell. I am, however, looking at a lot of the ward coverage from Team Pandemonium. Once again, you see there is a ward directly on top of the red buff, as well as one near the back right-hand Harpies. I think they're going to be looking for a lot more invades and a lot more kill potential.
Gold Fury just got warded up by Team
Oh, look
Pandemonium,
at
and
this,
it
look
was
at Maxon.
decentried. Invade going on right now. Sway going to find the knockup from the Raptor Terror. Not going to find the pull from Nature's Grasp. Unfortunately, Kikumi are going to get banished out, forcing them to separate. And that's a good invade there for Team Pandemonium. They do get the red buff, I believe.
Gravity Surge was also expanded, not being able to get Maxim with it out of range. But the Supernova over the wall is going to do not a whole lot. Fear No Evil is going to split up Team Pandemonium just a little bit.
Sporks going and lurking in the walls. He's looking for damage onto Kikyo. Mia going to find the plug as well. I believe he's going to be separated there beautifully. Ro finding Yada. It's a critical mass. 3 minutes of time comes out. Not going to hit anybody. Yada's going to be so low. Subfloor going to fall down to only go to solo. Meanwhile, Kikyo Mia does fall down to Achito. Ro finds Richard Castle in the back line for a 2-for-1 trade in favor of Team Pandemonium.
And now they're going to be going ahead for the Gold Fury. They're starting to snowball pretty heavily at the moment. Take a quick look at our graphs. We can see the XP and gold has just jumped up since the last time we took a look at it. Gold Fury hasn't fallen yet. Only goes solo, trying to get in here, but it's getting zoned out by Spox and Slayer.
I don't think it's... Oh, there he goes, over the top. Team Pandemonium actually do destroy the Gold Fury. Direwolves not able to find the steal, and they are going to be able to find a killer to Ro, maybe. Over the top with some sort. Maxa finds the crit that he needs, and Ro falls down.
Now, Yada and Maxon a little bit separated from the rest of that team. Team Pandemonium can't do a whole lot more. It's just Sobek and Slayer. They don't need to fight. They've already gone the Gold Fury. They've gotten so many kills. Take a look at the graphs. We see 6,500 XP, as well as 5,500 gold in favor of Team Pandemonium. This is looking a bit grim.
It's looking very grim, but it's the start and the situation that Team Pandemonium needed with their team comp. Very aggressive, very early game oriented and very mid game oriented, I'd say. It doesn't have that much to do in the late game. Really only that Yanis being that huge threat. Being on the side of Direwolves, you can see the Soul and the split push potential coming out from the Yanis. The team fight potential to Humbats. It would favor them if they could get to the late game level on terms.
The thing is that you have to be able to make it to that late game. Team Pandemonium is just trying their hardest to smother out Direwolves, and if they are constantly fighting and Pandemonium always winning, Direwolves are not going to get an opportunity to farm up and really get to that late game before it's all over.
Finishing up that Chronos Pendant is Ashita, giving him 20% CDR, meaning the Unstable Vortex is going to be back up online as soon as he really wants it to be. Right-hand side, sorry. Tier 1 almost falling. That's only going to solo. He's going to get hit by the Gang Squad. Finds a double Fearless. Looking to try and turn this fight around onto Ro and Sporks. Putting down Ro about 30% HP.
Unfortunately, he did not get the tower. No more active goal for his team. That was really what it was after. Just allow his team to come back from this a little bit more. Take a look at some of the builds. A lot of people on Direwolves, they've only got 3 items, whereas Team Pandemonium, they're looking on towards their 4th already.
Oh, and Subfloor, he has got the King Size online and ready to go. Doing so much damage. And then solo lane, Tier's going to get ganked again. Sporks, beautiful placement of that, lurking in the water. Hits him just as he comes out from that Lawbringer and finds the kill, and this tower should fall down as well.
The tower weapons of Gravity Surge was just too strong. Pandemonium, they're usually using 2 ultimates per kill, but Direwolves just not able to follow up on the lack of ultimates. Although
on the solo lane, Subfloor gonna get hit by a couple of ultimates there, but Yada gonna get knocked up the second he lands. Why gonna try and turn it around? Down comes the Defender of Olympus. Centaur's gonna be used as well. Finds a bit of damage onto Maxin and onto Richard Castle as well the second he lands.
Yeah, that's even more ultimates used from Team Pandemonium, but they do have a significant level advantage. Yada level 16, Subfloor, this respective ADC opponent level 18. You see a 4-man group here trying to get this tier 1 tower on the left-hand side.
And Sporks has made that rotation all the way from solo lane. Uses teleport, as has Tier. Is going to blink in, looking for Subfloor. Meanwhile, Richard Castle going to get pulled in by Swag. Going to get knocked up at the same time. Subfloor a critical mass right now. Only going to solo, looking for it. Yada finds it, but only going to solo force down towards Cheetah. Now it's on the retreat for Direwolves, so they look to try and defend this tower. Richard Castle going to get plucked back.
This combination of Sobek and Willich is just so strong. You know, Sporks, he just grabs someone, says, "Here you go, boys," and Willich says, "Thanks," and it's just a guaranteed kill pretty much every time. Not much Direwolves can really do about it. They only have 3 purifications on their team.
It's just so much displacement coming out from Team Pandemonium. And it's very easy to capitalize on. Spork's going to find the block onto Yada underneath the tier 2. Going to get rooted in place, and the damage is too much for the ADC to handle. And this tier 2 is just exposed and looks like it's going to fall, unless Maxon can have anything to say about it.
No, he's not going to be able to. Kikyo Emil trying to jump in there. throws out the Stellar Burst before the Separate comes online, but Pandamonium completely unfazed. I mentioned earlier during the picks and bans, the Oceanic meta right now is pretty much hunkered down and wait for an opportunity, but like you said, with the Awersh, Sobek, and Sylvanas, they've got so much displacement that it doesn't matter. They just force fights that are completely in their favor.
And you'd think that with the potential from Maxon to really sway fights in his favor with that Fear No Evil, that the fights might be starting to turn in Direwolf's favor, but those Fear No Evils just haven't been coming out in the right situations, or never been actually coming out at all, really.
Well, the issue is that normally you throw out the Fear No Evil, you have to be a mince whole bunch of the enemy, but...
Mill on the right-hand side on the mid-caps. Looking the waters comes down as well. Triple knock-up, though. And that's going to be a huge damage. Ro fights Kikyo Mio. Dumping in is only going to solo. He's going to be looking for the return kill onto Ro. Beautiful better step over the top of him. Double knock-up there from the Wrath of Terra. Yada in a world of hurt. Is he going to be able to get out in time? That is the question.
The threshold has been put down onto Yada. He's a little bit slower now. He is going to get picked up by a subfloor. Irons of Direwolves is starting to crumble. Only good solo backing into the base. Richard Castle is going to get aggressed on. Picked up for subfloor for a double kill.
And now they have their choice of whether they want to get this left or mid Phoenix. They may be able to get both. They just need to make sure that they don't overcommit to a Phoenix when they don't really have it. Maxon and only going to solo the other ones here. Maxon's going to get plugged in. Going to get plugged again by Sobek. Leaping in straight into the tail whip. They're only going to sort of try and create the space for Maxon to get away, but he's going to be forced back into the fountain.
That's the issue. You get double plucked. You try to jump back to a safe spot, but pretty much up in a much more aggressive position than one you've started. Purification for the Fearless is going to keep subfloor onto that Phoenix, and it's going to go ahead and fall. Mid Phoenix also got picked up there.
Yeah, that was just the split push coming out from Ro. Plug on to Maxon. He's going to get hit by that.
Oh my god.
With like charging so much damage from that through space and time. Only going to solo. He's going to have to try and get out, but Swear going through the portal, trying to cut off the retreat path, forces out the Lawbringer just by the presence of Sylvanas alone.
This is the issue. With Team Pandemonium's lineup, it doesn't matter how good your position is. As soon as you get hit by one little displacement, you are done. And there's nothing that they could do at the moment. Take a look at the graphs before they quickly take up this Gold Fury. You see 14,000 XP, 15,500 XP ahead, as well as 13,000 gold. I'm calling GG on this one.
It certainly has been very methodical from Team Pandemonium. They came in with a clear strategy, clear game plan against this Direwolf squad, and it's worked an absolute treat. Team Pandemonium, they're coming on to their final items, and Direwolves, they're still struggling to finish up their 4th and 5th items.
Yeah, it's really a struggle, and there's just so many strong items coming out from Team Pandemonium. We were looking at the Doom Orb from Ochita. That hasn't fallen once. He hasn't died yet. And we can also see the Stonekine Sword coming out from Ro as his 5th item. That's going to allow him to just move around even faster with the Windblade, but looks like Team Panda going to be setting up for a Fire Giants.
I believe it's just Subfloor accidentally triggering it with his charged bow. Of course, it does proc some lightning hits every 4 auto attacks. It gives him great team fight damage. At the same point, it could just accidentally aggress onto stuff that you don't want to aggress onto.
Yeah, just shake a little nudge on towards a Fire Giant. He doesn't really appreciate that. Although someone who doesn't really appreciate a lot of things at the moment is only good at solo. Having to use his Lawbringer away towards the tower, that is a big part of his movement speed, of his mobility, if he does end up in a team fight.
And that's a level 19 tier they're put down to half health. You can't really frontline effectively. You need to manage to get a 3-man power defensive stat. But Maxon gonna get plucked back. There's no safety in that tower, says Ro. And you come back here. The tower is no safe haven. As
that was
Ro
just... That was like an art. He just jumped over the wall and got pulled right back over. Richard Castle again driven underneath the tower by Ro. Ochita picking up the kill there. They have no place that is safe for them.
And Yada gonna, well, just stay in between the unstable vortexes. Sporks is on the way for his rotation. Only got solo in the backline. Looking to try to pick up Ro. Can he find it? He does indeed. That's a return kill for Direwolves. Coming out over the wall, but Ochita's covered the option already, and the teleport coming out. Can they have the CC? They do indeed. Sporks there with the pluck at the last second. Subfloor picks up the kill.
Hard CC does indeed stop the teleport, and that's going to be a surrender vote coming out from Direwolves. They've had enough. They want to move on to game number 2.
Mm, It was an obvious surrender vote there. Just one Swordsy Phoenix remained for Direwolves, and that looked like it was going to be pushed down very quickly by Team Pandemonium. They lost a lot of their front line. Their Athena fell so far behind. Didn't even manage to get one stack on that Hide of the Urchin by the end of that game. It's a very difficult situation to be in for the Direwolves.
It really is, and just nowhere was safe for them. They had so much displacement, and they got so large to the point where Rowe had no problem just diving tier 2 towers for an Athena. You don't normally see that. The game was over, and unfortunately, we're going to see game number 2 coming out in a little bit moment. We'll see if it is going to be a 2-0 victory or if Direwolves can bring it back for at least a 1.